So most of the time when you want to search your Mac for a file, you just do it in a Finder window. Just Command F and you'll be doing a Spotlight search for the file. It's quick and it's easy. You can also use the Spotlight menu, Command Space, and search there as well. But if you want to do it in a more techie kind of way, in the terminal you can use the Find command. Now the Find command doesn't use the Spotlight index at all, so it's not dependent on that big index that your Mac's always updating of all your files. It'll actually look through all the directories, look at each file and see what matches and return the results. So to use the Find command you just go into Terminal and type Find, and the next thing you're going to type is the path to the directory you want to search. So you could do, for instance, slash and that's it. This would search your entire hard drive. Now this is a really bad idea because it's going to look in your system folder and your library folder and they are filled with tons of files. It's going to find all sorts of matches you didn't expect and it's going to fill up the window with all sorts of results you don't want. So you probably want to search something like maybe your home folder. You can do that with a tilde. That's the shift and the key above the tab on American keyboards and slash. That searches the home directory. You can also type the entire thing out like user/macmost and that's your home directory, and then you can do documents. You can search the current directory very easily by using a dot, and that will look wherever you currently are. Now if you want to specify where you are you can type the entire path, but like for instance in this project folder here I can simply use the command cd, change directory, and I can drag the icon here into it and hit return, and now I can check pwd to see where I am and I can see I'm there. So now when I do a find with a dot it'll be looking in there. You can also do the same thing with any folder. So I could have, for instance, said cd and then dragged project A folder into there and done the same thing like that. So now that I know I'm checking in here, let's look at what's in here. There's a test.rtf. There's another file called another space test.rtf, a new space test.rtf, and all of that. So we would expect that if we were to search for test.rtf we would find maybe that one file that matches exactly, maybe three files that match somewhat. So let's go back to the find command, find dot for the current directory, and then I'm going to do -name. This says I want to search by name, and test.rtf. And it'll return that one file. And it'll say it finds it in that current directory dot and /test.rtf. Now if I were to have specified test with lowercase t, it's not going to return anything at all. That's because it's case sensitive. But you can make it case insensitive by hitting I instead of just name. So iname, case insensitive name, and now it will find it. By the way, to get these commands back quickly I just do an up arrow and it goes back to the previous command and then I can edit it. Now what if I wanted all three of those files? I could put an asterisk there, which is a wildcard. It means anything followed by test.rtf. And now you can see I get those three files there. I could also, if I didn't know if they were RTFs, I could do anything, then followed by test, followed by anything, and it'll return those same three files. Now I can also look for files by modification date or creation date. So let's go back to that previous command. A new command, so start with a dash and say mtime, modified time, and I can now use a minus and then a time. Now this minus is an actual minus, not a dash like before mtime, before iname. I could do minus and then I could say things like 1 hour, 1h, or 2 hours, 2h, or 5d for 5 days, or a combination like 5 days, 6 hours. And when I do that search I'm only going to get the one file there because that's the only one that is newer than 5 days, 6 hours from right now. Now I could also, if I want the results to be in a different way, like let's say I get some big results. Like let's say for instance that I'm going to search not for files that were modified here and not for just RTFs, but anything with the word test in it, and I'm going to look in my home directory. So it's going to include my library folder and everything. I'm going to get a ton of results. And it's going to scroll up off the page. I can go to that same command and use the pipe character, which is shift and the character above, the key above return, to pipe it to more. And more is a paging method for the terminal window. So now I get the first page and I can hit space for the second page. I can hit return to just go one line. I can even go up arrow to go up and down in it, and Q to quit out of that paging kind of method. That's kind of nice. I could also go and instead of pipe I can do a greater than which is then kind of send to command, and I can give it like search results.txt, and now it looks like I get nothing. But if I look in the Finder here I can see I have a search results.txt file. I can open that up in TextEdit and the entire thing was sent to a TextEdit file. So I could look through that as well. Let me clear the window here and show you one last thing. What if you want to search for something that's got spaces in it? So I do find dot iname, and remember I had that another test file. So I search for another test. I'm going to get an error there because it interprets the another as what it's looking for in the name, and then test is all by itself and it doesn't understand what that is. So I can do two things. I can put quotes around this, and you can see I could do that. I'll include the wildcard in there so it finds it. There it goes. Now I could also, without quotes, I can just put a backslash, a backward slash. It's the key above the return on American keyboards just before every space. That means basically take the next character literally. Don't interpret it as part of the command. And that will work just like a quote. Now one last thing I want to show you. There's tons more functionality in here. If you really want to dig into it, just like with any other command at the terminal, type man for manual and then type the command. So man find, and you get a ton of information about every single option you could possibly imagine inside of the find command. And you could page through this using the space bar and look through it and see all the different options. If you're not a coder it's a little hard to understand all of them, but sometimes you can do searches for something. So if you understand what path or perm or print or prune mean, you can do searches online for terminal command, find, and prune and see what comes up. Maybe there's somebody that's explained it. But you can see different things here. Like for instance I can look for files by size, for instance. So that could be kind of handy to look for large files, things like that. So there's a lot of stuff in here that you can use to refine the search.